Howdy everyone, Zelda Sage of Fire here. ZSOF is in the house. As you can see, I've got my normal microphone back, and I promise to use this mic no matter what. Unless I replace the headset, and then it'll be the same mic on a different headset, but you know what I mean. So you should probably be able to hear me quite a bit better now than you could in the last video, which is always a good thing, right? As you can see, I have a cold. It's not so fun, but oh well, it'll be gone soon, hopefully. So this is going to be episode 5, episode the 5th, and it's interesting. I really didn't get any questions from the last video. So I just have some topics to talk about today, and I don't think I'm going to save any of them for the next episode just because I don't have any questions to answer this time. So, let's begin. Alright, so Slasher asked me if I had a Wii U, which I do. My brother bought it right before Christmas. And he wants to know if I've been enjoying it, so I'm going to talk to you about the Wii U for a little bit. Well, in short, the Wii U is pretty fantastical, actually. The graphics are really impressive for a Nintendo console. It's really nice to look at a game. I'm going to use Mass Effect 3 as an example, or maybe Darksiders 2, because those are the two games I've played on the Xbox 360, played them a lot on the Xbox 360, and then played them on the Wii U. Excuse me. And Mass Effect, it's really pretty on the Wii U. It really is pretty. Dare I say it's prettier on the Wii U than it is on the Xbox, and considering it's new hardware that people haven't really been able to tap into its full power yet and explore everything that it really can do. It was really, really cool. Plus the tablet controller, it's really comfy. It's really comfy. I didn't really expect it to be that comfy when I saw it. But in Mass Effect, it gives you a map, and it'll show you the location of all the enemies that you need to do, and you can, if you want to, you can assign powers to 8 slots down on the side of the map for you, Shepard, or your 2 squad mates, and if you want, you can just kind of tap and drag over to a dot where an enemy is, and you can look up on the TV screen, and boom, that happens to the person you dragged the skill to. So it was pretty cool to see that. And in Darksiders 2, it does a very similar thing. You can have either the map, which is pretty handy, or you can have your inventory screen. So if you pick up a piece of gear, you don't have to hit start and go into your main menu to equip it. You can just look at it right there and tap it, and then it's equipped. So it's a pretty cool, handy little tool. Plus, at least in Darksiders 2, you can take the game from the TV and put it on your tablet screen. So if someone walks in and says, hey, I want to watch TV, and you need to get off my TV, then you can say, one moment. And then you can switch it over to the tablet, and then you can say, okay, have your TV. Go do whatever it is you do. And then you can keep playing Darksiders 2. And, I mean, really, why wouldn't you keep playing Darksiders 2? The game is just phenomenal. So have I been enjoying it? Yes. I haven't spent as much time on it as I initially thought I might. But that could be because I just beat Mass Effect 3 on the Xbox 360 because my profile was already established there, and my version of Shepard is so much cooler on the Xbox because he's played through 1 and 2 and 3 than just going through the little intro comic thing they got, which is pretty cool, but it doesn't quite give you the same freedom over the choices throughout the games that the games themselves do. Plus, I've been really into The Witcher 2, Assassins of Kings on the Xbox, and it is pretty incredible. If you like RPGs with a more grown-up story, and combat encounters that'll make you think. And it's got some really hefty decisions to make and some consequences that go along with them. Actually, you make a decision in Chapter 1 that dictates which version of Chapter 2 you get. So, there's 2 versions. Another game that I've been surprisingly addicted to is StarCraft 2. I came to the StarCraft party late. I didn't even own a copy of StarCraft until it had been around for 10 years. And I wasn't a huge fan of it. I preferred Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 probably has been my favorite RTS game for a long, long time. But StarCraft 2, it's putting the heat on WC3 because the campaign is just incredible. But anyways, that's why I haven't really spent as much time with the Wii U as I thought. But as more games come out and more things are unlocked for the console, like just bigger games, and more stuff from Nintendo, I know I'm going to be enjoying it a lot, and I'm really looking forward to spending more time with it. So, alright. Another topic from Slasher is about Pokemon. And, yes, Slasher, I do play Pokemon. I've played a lot of Pokemon. That was another thing that I kind of came into the party late because of interesting discussions with my parents. They've mellowed out a lot since then, though. And, let's see, what Pokemon versions do I currently have? I have Gold. I have Sapphire, Leaf Green, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Soul Silver, and White. I think those are all the ones I have currently. I'd like to potentially get an original Gen 1 cartridge. I don't know if I'd play it, but it'd be cool to have it. And I'd really like to get White too, because it looks pretty cool. I like the idea of a sequel instead of the three versions for each generation sort of thing, where Diamond, Pearl, and then Platinum is this kind of mishmash of the two, and you get access to both the legendaries or something, and there's some kind of the same but slightly altered storyline. The main reason I got Platinum is because I thought that other form of Giratina was just awesome looking. So now X and Y, the new version's coming out for the 3DS later this year. I actually don't know much about them. I just know what I know from a couple screenshots I saw, and it looks like it's going to be more of a 3D, third-person adventure kind of game instead of the top-down like normal, and that really excites me, actually. Because the first Pokemon RPG I ever played was actually Pokemon Colosseum on the GameCube. So a lot of people, I started playing on Red or Blue or Yellow or Gold or Crystal or whatever. No, I started on Colosseum, and I remember staring at the type matchup chart in my Nintendo Power magazine just forever. I had it there all the time when I played, and I've almost memorized the entire thing, even with changes from certain types like fire, water, grass being special attack rather than physical attack like normal and fighting, to the attack being based on, or the stat that it uses to determine its attack power is derived by the kind of move it is. So like Fire Punch will be physical, but Flamethrower will be special, That change with, I think it was Diamond and Pearl, that threw me for a loop at first. I was like, whoa, wait a second here. You've thrown all my type matchup knowledge out the window as far as stats go. But it made certain people like Gyarados way better, because he's got such high physical attack, and his special attack isn't really anything special. And so when every water move was special, he really wasn't that effective. But now, certain things are physical attack instead of special, and he's a lot more effective. Still can't even look at an electric type without quivering, but But as far as X and Y go, unfortunately, I really don't have much knowledge, and I probably should have looked it up a little bit more before I started recording, but oh well. I'll probably start looking into it more as we get into summer and it gets closer to release, because that's kind of the time when I might be more likely to get a 3DS, but it's still up in the air when I might get one. Because if and when I get one, I want to get the XL, which is more expensive now, of course. But there's enough games on the 3DS where I'm probably going to end up getting one at some point. So I am excited to see X and Y. I'm excited to see more news on them. I'm excited to see how they're gonna turn out, because the fully 3D action adventure kind of camera angle, that camera angle looks to change it up in a way that hasn't really changed up the handheld games before, and I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, now those were the quick topics. Now we come to the bigger ones. Okay, the final one from Slasher that I received recently is, what is my least favorite game on each console? Now, that's a pretty hefty chore there, because I personally own a lot of consoles, and there's a lot that I don't own as well. I've never owned a Sega console, ever. Okay, I take that back. My brother bought himself a Dreamcast and decided he didn't want it anymore, so he gave it to me. So I technically have a Dreamcast over in my drawer over there. But I only have like one game, Grandia 2, I think, and I haven't played it. I don't know if I ever will play it. If someone offered me some cash for it, I'd probably give it up. I've just never been a Sega fan like that. I like some of Sega's games, but I've never been a fan of the Sega consoles. I grew up playing the NES at my grandpa's house, and then we got a 64, so I kind of skipped the Sega consoles altogether. So I'm basically just going to give you my least favorite game for each console that I own. And if there's a console I don't own that you want me to talk about, then you can say something in a post on the pipeline or put it in a comment on YouTube or something or whatever. So for the NES, probably just straight up golf. It was so freaking hard when I tried it the first time, because I was really used to Mario Golf on the GameCube, actually. Toadstool Tour, Mario Golf, and playing golf against a friend of mine. He was just so much better than me, and I was like, this is lame. So I'm going to say that. For the Super Nintendo, Super NES, I don't really know. I only own good games for that console. I've only got A Link to the Past, Zelda, Donkey Kong Country, and Donkey Kong Country 3 right now. So that one's probably the toughest Nintendo console for me to actually give a least favorite, simply because I really haven't played many games on it. A lot of people might find that hard to believe. So, yeah, I really don't know for the Super Nintendo. For the N64, that was tough. Again, that was another console where I really only had good games. And now my least favorite games are probably going to start going into the kind of expected category. We had a Kobe Bryant NBA courtside basketball from like 98 on the 64 that initially was kind of cool, but the longer we had it, the less I liked it, because I just couldn't win. And the controls were clunky, and the computer would beat me, my brothers would beat me. It wasn't very fun. So I'm probably going to say that one for the 64. For the GameCube, I'm going to go with a movie game and say Finding Nemo, because I don't care how good or bad your game is, but when you have load times that are seriously 10 minutes between a cutscene and gameplay, you make people just want to go play something else because, you know, you spend more time in a loading screen than playing the level. And that's in no way an exaggeration. I think we probably got halfway through that game and it had taken us 10 hours because half the time it was on a loading screen. It was terrible. It was ridiculous. Except for movie games like that, I didn't really play a bad game on the GameCube. If it was made by Nintendo or... Actually, you know what? I might change my answer for the GameCube. I think I might say Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Because it was terrible. It really was. I remember some of the older Sonic games. I didn't play them when they were relevant, but I've played them since, and it was all about momentum. It was all about the speed. And the faster you were, the easier it was to get through a level just by jumping. Because, you know, that's what Sonic does. He's fast, and he goes fast. And Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2 tried to take that away by making it like a Mario game when Mario moves really, really fast if you keep him moving the whole time. And there's a ton of you out there who have played Mario games. And you know that Mario is a more precision-based platformer. You have to jump from this tiny little platform over here to this tiny little platform over there. You can't do that when you're running 100 miles an hour. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen. And so, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, that one's probably going to get my vote. Because it had quick, and fast load times, yeah, but the gameplay was terrible. And the storyline was weird, and it didn't make any sense to me. The only thing I liked were the grinding races when you're on this little rail, like grinding on your shoes, with your shoes to go down this rail. And that was just two-player mode. That was about all I liked. Everything else was just weird. For the PS2 that I have, my least favorite game for the PS2. Good grief. I only ever bought PS2 games that I'd actually want to play. One I do have, Chaos Legion. I'm not a really big fan of that. It just didn't... For some reason, Capcom games have always kind of put me off because they can have a good storyline and they can have good gameplay, but the immersion factor of the game is lessened because they have a points counter for you at the end of every level. And so, even in Resident Evil they do this, and you get to the end of a mission or a chapter or whatever, and then there's this evaluation screen of how well you did, and it gives you points, and it's like any feeling of immersion I had from this experience is just gone now. It's gone. The only one I haven't played that wasn't like that was the demo for Dragon's Dogma, and regrettably, I do not have that yet. So, I'm probably going to say Chaos Legion for the PS2, because in the other game I have for the PS2, I deliberately bought it because I knew I'd like it. Kind of same for the Xbox, the original Xbox. I'm actually probably going to say Halo 2 is my least favorite because I really enjoyed the first Halo when I finally gave in and gave the campaign a try. And the storyline was great in Halo. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. It's not just a mindless walk in, shoot things, and walk out. That's probably the easiest way to describe the gameplay because that's essentially what you do. You go through a level, you start at point A, you try and get to point B, and along the way you have to go through this room, and this room, and this room, and that room, and that tunnel, and that room over there. And they're all just full of enemies, and you kill all the enemies and move on. But the thing that puts Halo apart from shooters like maybe Call of Duty is that the story is a little bit more personal, and it's a science fiction story, which something fantastic like that, and I say fantastic to mean not real life, something that's different or bigger than what can happen in real life. Like Halo, humanity has been in this war against this group of alien species called the Covenant for years and years, and you're trying to keep Earth a secret, and you stumble on the crux of their religion, and you realize that you have to stop this, or all life in the galaxy is getting eliminated. That's the essence of the first game, and it's really cool. Halo 2 tried to up the ante, but it felt unfinished. I cannot tell you how many times I was in the middle of a cutscene in Halo 2, and the screen, the picture would just kind of, they would start talking, and then all the details fill in. It was really disjointed, and the storyline kind of jumped around a little bit between Master Chief and then this elite. It's like, oh hey, wait, I was killing those things all last game, and I've been killing them most of this game, but now I'm playing as one? It was almost like one of those cliche, my enemy is now my ally sort of thing, And it was okay. It progressed the storyline so that we could have Halo 3, but it was pretty weak, in my opinion. So, you take out something like the assault rifle and replace it with the SMG. That just, no. No. Notice how every other Halo game has an assault rifle? Why do you think that is? So that's what I picked for the Xbox. For the Wii, that's another tough choice. These are all pretty tough choices, I guess. I don't really know. Because the Wii was another console where any game I personally owned or played was very deliberate. I didn't play it if I didn't think I was going to enjoy it. Because the Wii did have a lot of those sort of casual games where the only audience that they had in mind were small children or older people who don't play games much. And I do not fit into either of those. If you've seen my gaming library, you know. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Wii Music. That just looked like a waste of time in every possible sense of that phrase. For the Xbox 360, I have a huge library for the 360. Least favorite game for the 360. I might upset a lot of Valve and or zombie fans with this, but I'm really not a fan of Left 4 Dead at all. And maybe it's because I just don't like co-op, and the game was built from the ground up specifically for co-op. But it just didn't impress me at all. I thought it was almost too fast-paced, and it just really wasn't very fun. Another one I've come to not really be such a big fan of is Borderlands, just because I've had some people beat me over the head with Borderlands and Borderlands and Borderlands and Borderlands. It's, oh my God, stop, please. Plus, my hard drive deleted my save file. 80 hours down the tube. It's a good way to kill my motivation. Two Worlds is another one that's pretty terrible. The sad thing about Two Worlds is that the story at the intro is interesting enough to make it so that I won't sell it back. And then, of course, you've got the obligatory movie games and sports games that just are terrible most of the time anyway. So, yeah, I think I'm going to end my list there because this has been going on for a little while. And it's tough to really just pick a specific title. It's not often that a title jumps out at me as being like, oh, geez, that's just a terrible game. I hate it. It's my least favorite game on this console. It's not really easy for me to do that because I can be really forgiving when it comes to a game that's not necessarily that great. Like Two Worlds, for example. All right. The final topic today is something Shu asked me from the last episode, and that's which Lord of the Rings character is your favorite and why. And I've done a lot of thinking about this. I even have my copies of the Lord of the Rings here, and I was kind of flipping through it a little bit, and my copy of the Silmarillion, and my copy of the Hobbit, and I mean, I've got other stuff by Tolkien. I've got the first 5 volumes of the Histories of Middle-earth, which are, if you think the Silmarillion is dry, the Histories of Middle-earth are to the Silmarillion what the Silmarillion is to Lord of the Rings, sort of thing, you know? And I've done a lot of thinking about it. Interestingly enough, I think I would probably say Bilbo is actually my favorite character in the series, Bilbo Baggins, because he reminds me a lot of myself, actually. He's very set in his ways. He has the things that he does. He really, he's kind of predictable. He's a creature of habit. And the biggest similarity between him and I is that we just don't like big changes. Throughout the beginning of The Hobbit and even most of that book, it's all just resisting something new. And that's actually an issue I'm having, is that I tend to resist change and something new. And in the case of Bilbo, he's kind of not allowed to do that. He's not allowed to resist, because if he resists, then he and 13 dwarves get killed. So, and he goes on this adventure, and while it's happening, it is absolutely atrocious. It's terrible. All he wants to do is go back to his nice warm hobbit hole and eat all day and sit in front of his fire and smoke his pipe. That's all he wants to do. And usually when I'm going through something difficult, that's about all I want to do, is go and find Bag End and just sit in front of the fire and eat cakes and smoke a pipe. That's all I want to do. But the cool thing about Bilbo is that once he gets out there and, realizes maybe he's not as useless as he might have thought he was going to be, he realizes that he can make a difference, and he's going to make a difference, especially in terms of The Hobbit. And he becomes the hero of the story, basically. Without Bilbo, people don't go home, really. So, I think I'm going to say Bilbo. My second favorite character would probably be Aragorn. Just because Aragorn's awesome. He's a noble man. He doesn't want any of the power that is his destiny. All throughout the book and in the movie, he's just hammering home, I don't want this power that's supposed to be mine. I don't think I am I don't think I am strong enough to overcome the same temptation that led to the downfall of my forefathers. And so he doesn't want it. He doesn't think he's the right guy. And everyone else does. Everyone else looks at him as like, dude, you're amazing. You will defeat this. You will overcome. You just have to believe that you'll be able to do it. And eventually he does, of course. Plus, Viggo Mortensen did such an amazing job playing Aragorn. Oh my goodness. So yeah, those would probably be my favorite characters. And it is tough to look at something like that and narrow down and say that's my favorite character right there, or he's my favorite. When you have so many different characters that cover a wide range of just everything, and they're all done so well, it really becomes difficult to sort of narrow the field and say, okay, I don't really like him, I don't like him, I don't like him, because I do like most of them. Even some of the bad guys. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Shu. And now, I do believe I'm finished for this episode, and it's actually going to be shorter than the episode before, by a couple minutes. So, as I mentioned before, just if you have any questions or extra topics you'd like to hear me talk about, leave a comment on YouTube, post on the pipe, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. I'll get it somehow. And if I don't get any responses by Saturday, which day is that? Saturday, March 2nd. I'm just going to pick some topics and talk about it. Probably have something to do with The Legend of Zelda and or The Witcher. I don't know. So, hopefully I'll get some feedback and something to talk about. And even if I don't, I'm going to talk about something anyway. So, Zelda Sage of Fire, signing off.